Yoga Goddess Academy. How are you? If you don't like this page yet, please make sure that you give us a thumbs up and you like us so that you can see all of the amazing things that are coming up. I am Crystal Gray. I'm the creator of the Yoga Goddess Academy, as well as our online yoga teacher training program and our online yoga and meditation membership, which is only $22 a month. And I'm really excited over the next couple of weeks, and I've already been doing this a little bit. I've been interviewing some lovely, amazing ladies that I am collaborating with on this online yoga teacher training program. And today we'll be talking to Adriana, and I'm really excited to bring her on. She lives in Florida. She teaches at Evolution Yoga down there. And she teaches a lot of different styles of yoga. So not only vinyasa, but also restorative and yin and Budokon. And she's also certified in Reiki at, to level 2. So I'm really excited to hear today what she has to share with us. She'll be sharing with us the top 5 reasons why it's important to have more than one teacher in your yoga teacher training program. So hey, Adriana, thank you so much for joining.
Hey.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's kind of cold here today, but it's getting warmer, so I'm happy about that. I'm sure it's nice and warm where you are.
It is. It's like sunny and perfect and beautiful. So we don't really have like a winter.
Right. Awesome. Okay, so can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe how you came to yoga and what you do with it now?
Yeah. So I actually got into yoga through acting. I was in like this little theater group as a kid, and we did yoga warm-ups, and I really liked them. So I started doing them at home by myself, not really knowing that it was a spiritual practice or anything. I just kind of liked it. And then, I kind of lost that as I stopped acting. And then I joined a gym in college and just ended up doing yoga classes there, and then got hooked, and it carried me through like some really tough times, especially through a divorce. And then after that divorce, like the first thing I did basically was get teacher trained. So, and now I haven't looked back.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so what all are you doing now? What kinds of classes are you teaching?
I teach a lot. I teach like 16 classes a week right now. So I'm teaching every day. But I teach vinyasa. I teach a level 1 vinyasa, which is more like gentler yoga and more for beginners. And then I also do like hot power flow, which is definitely more intense, yin yoga and restorative yoga. And then I teach Pilates too. So
I really like that. I really like how you kind of balance it out, because a lot of teachers, they just focus on one type of teaching. So I really like that you're very well-rounded and do a lot of different things. I know in my yoga teacher training programs, I always try to, kind of help them to realize what the students need and to be able to direct the students into different classes. Like, you know what, maybe this will suit you a little bit more now. So I think that that's really awesome. And so if you can share with us your tips on why you think it's important to have more than one teacher in a teacher training program, that would be awesome.
Yeah. So in my training, I had 4 teachers. I had one anatomy expert. I had the teacher who ran the program, someone who was an expert on hands-on assist, and then who also introduced Budokon yoga. And then another teacher that was kind of there like more as our one-on-one person to talk with. She was... Well, there's 2 that were from the States. The other 2 were lived in Europe. But anyway, I think it's important that you have all of these different people that specialize in different things, because you can't expect one person to be a master at sequencing, anatomy, hands-on assist, everything, and then also be able to eloquently share that with everybody. Because just because you're good at it yourself doesn't necessarily mean that teaching teachers how to teach it, that's a lot of teach in that sentence, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to do that in an effective way.
Definitely. I totally understand.
Yeah, so that would be, I guess, like the first reason, is that like specialization. The second is just getting a fresh perspective. Sometimes if you get the same feedback from the same person week after week, you might not see the same progress. But when someone has a way of talking to you just a little bit differently, or maybe they have fresh eyes on something, then you'll get, I don't know, you can kind of form your own opinion on what you want to do better too. Because say it's like a style thing. Maybe 2 different teachers come from 2 different backgrounds, and the first teacher tells you like they don't want you teaching this certain thing, but then the other one is like, well, it's not going to cause any injury. I don't know. Then you can make your own opinions and you can create your own style.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that it's just like if you're in a yoga class, you know, if you're teaching a yoga class or taking yoga class, and then the student's like, oh, like it finally, like it clicks. They've heard it over and over and over, but another teacher said it in just some different way that it made it really sink in for them. So I think it's kind of the same thing, just with all of our different personalities, we're able to hear different things from all different people in a different way. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then another one would be just style, because like every single person in this particular training, we all come from different backgrounds. We all practice differently. And I don't know, it can make things more interesting to like build your style based off of multiple different things. I've gone through a vinyasa training, I've gone through a forest yoga training, I've gone through a Budokan training. So my style is kind of like this mix of those things plus everything else that I've taken. And I think, yours is a blend of everything that you've done. Like each teacher in this program has a different style to offer. And I think it's important to try a bunch of different styles and get introduced to different types of yoga. Because, I mean, no offense to like people that love Bikram every day, but like that's not for everybody. Some people can totally do the same thing all the time, but not everybody.
For sure.
So,
yeah. And I think it's good to learn that well-rounded thing, because I really try to teach, I focus on teaching women, and as women, we go through all these different cycles. And so not every day do I think for me and my body, do I want to be doing a super vigorous practice. And so I really try to tune in every day and see like, what does my body need today? And then try to develop my practice around that. And then also not to have guilt around it, because a lot of us that are drawn to vinyasa yoga and power yoga, we can tend to be this type A person, and we always just want to push. And it's taken me, like 15 years to finally be like, you know what? No, it's okay to actually relax. And it helps to also develop your intuition, I think, whenever you can just slow down and listen to your body and not just shove that part away and be like, no, this is what I'm doing. Instead, kind of internalize it. And it really opens up, I think, that connection to something greater than yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. It becomes more of a spiritual connection when you're that connected to your body to know like today is vinyasa, today is absolutely not vinyasa, maybe one day you need restorative, but yeah, if you're just pushing through everything, then you're not listening to your body. You're not listening to your intuition. And if you're not listening to it, then are you still going to have that intuition forever? Like eventually, don't you think it's just going to kind of fade into the background? I don't know.
Exactly.
So I think it's super important, the work that you do, especially with women, to train that intuition and getting connected to your own like feminine power,
Yeah. And then the other thing you were saying about just kind of having these different teachers with these different styles, like where I live, I don't really have, if I was just being like, okay, I'm going to teach power yoga and that's all I'm going to teach, like in my area, it would be very difficult for me to find students, instead where I can be like, it's a more general yoga class, but then I can use my skill and draw from all of these different things to kind of give different layers in the practice so that I can kind of, so that I can make sure that everybody in that class gets something from it. Not just be like, oh, well, there's, a couple really people that really want to do power yoga and a couple people that I know just need to be doing gentle yoga. That can be kind of scary. So it's really important to be able to meet them in the middle so that they can really get a lot from the practice, I think. And just pulling from all these different tools in your tool belt instead of just be like, okay, well, these are two people who have never done yoga before. They, aren't in shape. There's no way that they're going, if they do power yoga, if I teach that to them, they're never going to come back.
Totally.
And I think it's so important to meet them where they are so that you can instill that love of yoga in them and help everybody to realize there's a yoga for everyone. If you can breathe, you can do yoga. And as instructors, it's our job to show them and shine the light on what those different ways are.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like that is tough when you get beginners and really advanced yogis in the same room, but that's an all levels class. And that's what you're going to probably teach most of your life. You'll get lucky if you have a level 1 or a level 2 class or something, but for the most part, you need to know how to teach both of those people in the same sentence. And so that's like an interesting thing to have to learn and practice. And it's helpful to
Yeah.
have people that are, you know, skilled at doing that and can give you examples of how to teach someone with a knee injury warrior two, and also someone who like needs to just get their energy out at the same time,
Yeah.
you know.
And I
Basically
think
the same
also
breath.
it's important for the teacher to be able to let the maybe more experienced or more advanced yogis know why it's good sometimes to kind of pull back a little bit and maybe not go so far into the poses, and help them to get into more of the subtle benefits. I was just thinking about Sean Korn yesterday, who I absolutely adore. And she doesn't do any crazy poses, really. Like, there's no crazy poses in her workshops, at least the ones I've taken. But she helps you to feel all these different things, and like Warrior Two. And so she
Yeah.
really hits on all the different kind of energetic bodies. And you get a lot from those classes. And then you're like, we didn't even do any like arm balances or anything, you know? And so I think
Yeah.
that that's really an amazing skill to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that she has you like hold things for a while, so you really do feel all the
Yeah.
intricacies of the way that your breath feels in this part of your body, and now you have like 8 more breaths to feel it in every other part. So
Yeah. Though
it's
while I'm
super fun.
in those poses, I'm like, God, I hate her,
I
you know?
know,
And
I'm like,
and
I'm
one of the
dying.
things I got from her that I say too now, you know, because I take all these things from these different master teachers, and you know, it's like, I know that you might hate me now. I know that, but you know, it's like, and also it's like, kind of watch where you're directing this kind of hate, you know, in your class. I'm like, if you hate me, first of all, maybe you need to back out a little bit. But it's just funny because after the classes, you feel so great. But during it, you're like, oh my God, this is like torture, you know?
Yeah, I never thought I could say I hated pigeon, but in her workshop, I
Oh,
was
for
like,
sure. Totally.
I get me out of this pose, like,
Oh yeah, for
you
sure. But that's
know?
like where the breakthroughs happen, you know?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
for us, I think those are the kinds of things I want from my practice. I want those breakthroughs. I want to really dig deep and challenge myself on those different levels.
So for me, I need somebody else to challenge me on that because I'm not going to hold pigeon for that long, just me by
Exactly.
myself.
Exactly. For sure. All right. So what's your next tip?
So the next tip was getting fresh eyes. So like if it's just one teacher for all these months working with all these students, I feel like, and I haven't experienced it myself, but I feel like there could be a moment of like feeling a little bit burnt out. And so, you know, you have students that are learning to teach people yoga, which is not something to be taken lightly. You know, it's not just asana, it's a spiritual practice, and it's something that can really change and transform people's lives. So when we go through this 200-hour training, like if you just have one teacher that's trying to give you their all, sometimes I don't know if that's enough. You know, sometimes I really do think that you need someone who is not burnt out, who's, you know, maybe took a week off during this whole training and now they've got fresh perspective. If you have a bunch of people all helping out with the process, I feel like nobody really gets burnt out because everyone's, you know, doing their part. It's not all on one person.
For
So,
sure.
yeah.
That's why I love collaboration. I'm so excited about it. I've been doing training since 2013, but this is,
Wow.
again, this is the amazing thing about online. And I really think that this is the direction of the future, because you could do it on your own time. You can have access to all these different teachers. You know, you might find a teacher in your community that you really like, but you might not. And there might only be one. And so with
Right.
something like this, and you get access to like 7 different teachers. And I think that it's really amazing. And then for us as teachers to be able to support each other and to lift each other up so that we do stay inspired. And, oh, I'm seeing what Adriana's doing and she's such a good teacher. She's so inspiring. And then that's going to push me to do an even better job.
Yeah, absolutely. It really does. It's so true. You get, you know, working in a studio, you tend to take the same people's classes all the time. And then when you get to do, like for me, when I got to start taking Yoga Goddess Collective classes, that was so inspiring because it was just something fresh and different and new. And so that re-inspired my classes and like took my classes in a new direction, because that's where you get your inspiration. It's not through doing the same thing every day. It's from new people, new ways of saying something. You know, you always
Definitely.
get something.
And that's the great thing about yoga is like, thank God they never were able to like trademark different sequences and things like that, you know, like somebody was trying to do, I think. But it is so amazing. Like, and that's kind of, as a teacher, you just put it out there and people will take from it. And so it's so cool to see the teachers that I've certified going out there and kind of saying like the same types of things that I say. And it's like, it's really kind of a weird feeling, but it's also very, very cool just to watch them go out and then shine their light to a whole different group of people that I would have never reached.
Right. And it's got to be kind of flattering, like you said something that inspired them and it stuck with them. So now they're inspiring more people with it. So that's pretty cool.
For sure. And I think that that's a good point that you bring up, is doing these different classes like we have in that $22 membership with all these different teachers. It is, I just did a video this morning, and it's so neat to be able just to get different perspectives, because I know that we're going to be doing a whole month on compass pose coming up. And so I did a practice from somebody else this morning on compass pose, and then I will be taking some of those things that resonate with me. But no matter what, even if you're taking these things, you're going to bring it into your body, into your mind, and how does this work for you? And then whenever you reteach it, it's going to be something totally different, as long as you're an authentic teacher and you found your voice. And that's another thing we do in this training is I don't want anybody just regurgitating what I say. So if it's like, go and do this with your body, it's like, okay, but why? Like, I want all the teachers to know why they're having them do that, not just like, well, that's just what my teacher said. No, you need to know like why. Like, why are you having them do that? And just to be authentic. And I think that's awesome. So did you have any other tips?
Yes. So the fifth one was just vibe. And that's because you're not always going to vibe with everybody. And that's normal. That's okay. You don't have to vibe with everyone. But if you have this group of teachers, you will vibe with someone. I'll tell you my very first training, the main teacher, I really didn't vibe with her. Like, and she's a brilliant woman, so much good information, but there was no warmth like between that. We didn't connect, and that's totally fine because I connected with the other three. So, no big deal. I had, and luckily there was 30 people in that training. So I had 30 other trainees to vibe with, and because you learn from each other in these things too. It's not just it's not just from the teacher. Everyone comes with their own experience to bring to the table, and you're not going into a yoga teacher training as a brand new yogi. You've typically been practicing a little while and you're interested in sharing the practice. So, just being able to vibe with at least one teacher that you can connect with again after the training's over. I think that's important to have.
For sure. And then just to have the community of support. So to have these different teachers, because you'll know like what teacher you do vibe with, and you'll know if you can reach out to them and ask them a question like, hey, I'm kind of struggling with this. And because you might not be comfortable asking all of your teachers that, and that again is another culture I really want to create in this training, is one where you can ask any question. There's no such thing as a stupid question. But even if you say that, as a new student, somebody just learning how to teach yoga, that's a confidence thing, so they still might not be confident to ask those questions, but they might feel really comfortable with you. And so they can ask you, but they might not feel comfortable enough with me. I hope that's not the case, but it might be, and that's okay. And so I'm so excited because, talking about having all these different trainees, what I think is really awesome is to be able to see all these different types of bodies. And to be able to see people do these poses that maybe they're not perfect at the poses yet, because whenever we do the poses, and there's no such thing as a perfect pose, I know, but whenever we do the poses, we're doing the poses how we think they're pretty correct, And so to see all these different bodies where it's like, okay, now we need to figure out how to get this person into a more aligned, way of this pose. And what's going to be so awesome is we will utilize Zoom rooms. So I don't even know if I've told you this. So on Zoom, this is our virtual classroom. And so we're going to be able to all see each other. And so we're going to do one of these one per month. We'll be able to all see each other. And then what we can do is actually break out into separate rooms. So I can say, okay, Adriana, you go with Sarah and Melly and whoever. You guys go over in that room. Okay. And you guys teach triangle. You guys go over here in this room and you practice that. So I can set up like a few different rooms, and then I can pop in, me or whatever teacher, maybe you or whoever, can pop into the different rooms and kind of answer different questions. And then we can come back. So the thing I love about teaching online is that it makes you so good at being able to use your words to teach. You can't just go over to somebody and be like, just do this, move your body like this. You can't do that. Not that I would do that anyway. But you have to be really good at using your voice. And I know that that's definitely some of the feedback that I've gotten from people even online is like, I didn't even know that until you taught me that online. So I know that it can be done. I think that there's a stigma from people that just don't quite understand that yet, because maybe they're not really proficient at using their language and helping people to really get into the pose correctly and to really feel how it should feel in their body.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like there is definitely an advantage to using hands-on assist, but not everyone is okay with hands-on assist. So if you're approaching someone who's not comfortable with being touched, if you don't know how to teach them with your words, which really you should be doing first, because there's more than likely, if you have a classroom of like 30 people in the room, there might be 5 people all doing the same thing wrong. So if you may not have time to individually go to 5 people and touch them to get them into the right shape. So using your words is like a much more efficient and it's kind of empowering for them to like hear something and then get it right and then feel it in their bodies, you know?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I think that there's a time and a place for hands-on assist for sure. And those are things that we will go into in the training. But yeah, there are a few reasons why. If you're teaching classes, 16 classes a week, and, like I really believe in energy, you as a Reiki, Reiki teacher, and then going and touching all these people all throughout the day who are releasing energy that doesn't serve them anymore, it's probably not going to serve you either. So it's like, I try to kind of keep in my own little bubble a little bit, so that's just one of the reasons. But also there are assist and restorative poses and things like that. There's like nothing better. So
absolutely. Yeah.
There's a delicate balance.
Definitely. And I mean, because I'm like into Reiki, like if I'm touching one person and then I don't wash my hands or do anything to clear that energy, I might have just transferred it to another person. And so, and I tend to like bring like a towel or something, but I don't really know how energy works. I mean, I practice energy work and I still can't describe it perfectly, So there is the chance that I'm like sending someone's bad vibes over to you now just through touch. But anyway, and yes,
but I love that because you're being very humble about it, and I love that because I'm very non-dogmatic, and that's the kind of teachers that I want. It's like, yeah, I think that this is how it works, but there's no way that we can really say, yes, this is definitely how it works. And so I really like that. But you're being aware of it. You're like, it kind of makes sense. Like I remember using like an essential oil, like roller ball. And then I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't pass that around class because it's getting everybody's energy. Maybe a spritzer or something would be better, And so I kind of switched. I don't know if that's true. It just makes sense to me that would make sense. And maybe in the training, what would be really awesome is if you did kind of bring in some of that Reiki, talk about that whenever we talk about energy. Because
absolutely.
We will be talking about that. I think that that's something that's very skimmed over, and it's such a huge part of the yoga practice, and especially teaching. How do we protect our own energy? All of those things. And that's we could spend a long time talking about that. Maybe we'll do that again later on another live stream. But did you have anything else that you wanted just to kind of wrap up, and any last things you'd like to say?
I will say teacher training was the best thing that ever happened to me. I've done 3 now, and every single one I got something different out of. And I think like getting that initial 200 hour is so important just to get started on your journey. So if you're even considering it, I would say just jump on board because really you have nothing to lose. And you're either going to start teaching or you're going to transform your practice and understand yoga so much better just from doing this training. I know in my first training, there were 3 people that didn't even do the test because they really weren't in it to become teachers. They just wanted to deepen their practice. And I think that that's totally valid. If you're interested in teaching, then definitely jump on because it really is like life-changing and it helps you change other people's lives.
For sure. Well, thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today.
Absolutely.
I really
Thank you,
appreciate
Crystal.
it. You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Okay, bye. All right, so that was Adriana Lee. I'm so excited that she's going to be a part of our online yoga teacher training program. You guys, this is going to be so amazing, being able to bring all these different teachers. And even if this isn't the training for you, if you're not vibing with this and you're considering a teacher training, go out and research some, look at some, and just start having the courage to maybe start taking that step towards taking a yoga teacher training. Because like Adriana said, it really is life-changing. All right. Thank you guys so much. Namaste. Bye.